Hello there, Granny's Legacy Arborist Journal, Facebook friends out there in Facebook world. Thank you for logging on with another exciting episode with Katie.
Hi, as Tim said, in this exciting episode with me, I am going to talk to you a little bit about the first block that you will be receiving in the mail. They shipped out today. So if you signed up to receive the block kit, this week you will be receiving all of this. So this packet has all your background fabric, your ultra weft stabilizer, which is a really nice lightweight stabilizer just to make stitching on cotton a lot, it stitches a lot nicer with it. And then also you'll be receiving your first block pattern with the wools. So the cutting sheet is right here for the instructions for cutting your background fabric. So it tells you how to do that, and then also how to cut your the weft stabilizer to put on the back of your blocks. So all of that you'll be receiving for the entire year this month. So once you get all of your background pieces of cotton cut, do not fuse the weft to the back of them quite yet. That'll be coming up soon. But you'll want to take the transfer sheet out of your pattern. Go to a light box or window, whichever method you use. We like the light box method. Lay this on your light box, and on this we've included everything that you'll want to transfer for your block. The tree outline, the tree name, and then I've also included some stems. And that comes in handy when it comes to placing your leaves. So just place your background fabric on top of it and center it neatly. You'll be trimming it down, so if it's not exactly centered, you'll have another chance to center it again later. And then we have used a micron friction pen, or not a friction pen, a micron Pigma pen that's 0.2 millimeters. So it's really, really fine. You can almost hardly even make out that there's a line there. And then just take the pen and just very gently transfer all of the lines on that design. And once again, you'll want to transfer the tree, your stems, and then also the tree name. And then once you have all of that transferred, I didn't do a lot, but you can see just faintly, it leaves a nice faint line. It is a permanent line, so it's not a line that's going to come off. But that just makes it really nice and easy for when you're positioning your wool applique pieces. You know exactly where the stem for each leaf is, so you know exactly where to put each leaf, where to put the stem, and then once again, more leaves and stems and where to put all that. So that's the first step. And then once you get all your transferring done, you take your ultra weft stabilizer that you've prepared, and then the bumpy side is the fusible side and the soft silky side is the top side. So you want to put it bumpy side down and just kind of center it. And if it's not the exactly the same size as your back, it's not that big of a deal. And then just with a steam iron, fuse that down, and that will give you just a real nice background to stitch on. So then, just like any other pattern, in here is also you'll also find the tracing sheet for your wool applique shapes. So you'll be able to just trace those exactly as drawn, and they'll fit on the wools. So your wools are in there too. And then once you get that, we use a fusible web when we transfer our shapes. If you choose to use freezer paper, however you choose to create your applique shapes is up to you, but the pattern is written for using heat and bond light. So once you have all your shapes cut out and ready to fuse on, you can go back to your background. And then we've included a complete layout on here that has every shape with its letter, so you know exactly where each shape goes. If you're in doubt when you're fusing the shapes when you have them on your heat and bond or your freezer paper, we've also included the wool color number on here, which is also, you can refer to the back of the pattern, that'll say the size. So you have double, triple checks to make sure everything is right. Then position everything and fuse it down or applique, glue, or pin, however you so choose. And then when it comes to stitching, we always include in our patterns a nice up-close picture of what the block will look like so you can see every stitch. And then also we go into detail, like right here on main branch, with which stitches we have used with which color thread for each leaf and each element. So we try to be very clear and have a really nice, easy pattern for you to follow. So this month we have used like a stem stitch, your blanket stitch. There's just a wrap stitch, which is easy, like it makes the candy cane effect, just stitch across. For these tiny leaves down here, that's harder to use pearl cotton with, we have just used a matching sewing thread. For these little seeds down here in the flower, we have used colonial knots or French knots. And then right here on this little guy, we have used a bullion knot to create that little leaflet look. So I will show you how to do a bullion knot. So a bullion knot is one of those things that sounds scarier than it really is. And I think it's primarily because it's not one of the standard stitches that we learned doing embroidery. So what you do is you come up where you want to start, and then you go over as far as you want your stitch to be. So we'll do a nice 3/8 inch stitch like that. And then push, don't push all the way through. And then take and wrap your needle with as many wraps as it takes to make up this distance of fabric. So if I have about 3/8 of an inch of fabric showing here, I need to do about 3/8 of an inch of wraps. So you can kind of just wrap them around and then use your fingernail to kind of snug them down. And then you can kind of, before you move on, you can make sure they all have, the wraps are all tight enough. If they're too tight, you'll have a hard time pushing your needle through, but you don't want them too loose either. And then just pull up and back, and you have a beautiful bullion knot. So that's how easy it is. I'll do another one. So let's see here. You come up where you want your knot to start, and then go over however long you want your knot to be. So I'll try making a little shorter knot this time, a little 1/4 inch knot. Then you come back up where you started, and then put a 1/4 inch of wraps on your needle. Like a few more, there we go, like so. And then kind of, you just want to make sure that all your wraps have the same tension, so there's not a tight wrap and a loose wrap. You can kind of just adjust that quick here. And then hold all the wraps in your finger with the needle, pull the needle through, and then back, and you'll have just a nice little bullion knot. When it comes to needles, you'll want to make sure you're using a needle that the eye is the same thickness as the shaft. A chenille needle is not a great needle to use when you're doing bullion knots because it has such a big eye. We like them for wool applique because they're easier to thread the pearl cotton through, but for bullion knots, this is an embroidery needle, which works nice. Milliner needles are also absolutely excellent because, once again, the eye and the shaft are the same diameter. So I'll do another one here quick, just in case you want to see another one. So up and then over as far as you want the stitch to go, and then back up at the beginning. Wrap the length of your stitch. Adjust your wraps so they're all the same tension. Grab the wraps with your thumb and pull the needle through. Pull the needle back, and you have a beautiful bullion knot. So that's all that's to it. Feel free to reach out to us if you have questions about anything this month. We're here for you, and we want you to have fun with this project. So thank you for watching, and we look forward to meeting with you again.